Today we are going to learn how to solve linear inequalities, and hopefully after you've watched this video you'll be able to try my worksheet that I've made, which is a collector joke question. So I'll explain how to use that in a minute, but first we'll go through some examples. You might want to write these down so that you've got them to look at for when you try the task afterwards. So remember, an inequality will involve one of these signs, and essentially solving linear inequalities is the same as when you solve regular linear equations. So for example, if I had 8x is greater than or equal to 40, if I wanted to solve this, I'd want to find out what x could be. And because I've got 8 multiplied by x here, what I could do to both sides of the equations now is I could divide by 8. Now if I do that, 8x divided by 8 would leave me with x, and then 40 divided by 8 would be 5. Therefore x is greater than or equal to 5. And then you could test this to see if this works for the equation. So let's say pick something greater than 5, so let's say x is 7. 8x would be 8 times 7, which is 56, and that is greater than 40, so that works. And I could test to try one that is less than 5 to see if that doesn't work, because that shouldn't work. So let's try maybe x is 1, because that's smaller. 8 times 1 is 8, and that is definitely not greater than 40. That's less than 40, so that doesn't work. So it is right in thinking that any value x which is 5 or greater would work for this equation. Okay, now you could also have ones that have x written as part of a fraction. So for example, you might have x divided by 3. This time is less than, we can say 10. Now for this one we're trying to find what value of x divided by 3, or what values I should say, will always give you something less than 10. And because x is divided by 3 here, if we multiply both sides by 3, we will get x here is less than 10 times 3 is 30. So this is telling us that if we put anything less than 30 in to this equation at the top, we would get something less than 10. So if we try it out, let's try, I don't know, 27. So if x is 27, 27 divided by 3, that would be 9, which is less than 10, so that's good. And on this one it doesn't have the equal to sign, so we couldn't actually put in 30. X has to be less than 30. So if you did put 30 in, 30 divided by 3 would be 10, and we need it to be less than 10, so that's why we need something less than. Now these continue to different types of equations, so those are one-step equations, but you could also have a two-step equation like 2x add 1 is greater than 9. Now for this one, we have x has been multiplied by 2, and then we add 1 to it to get 9. So to solve this, the first thing we want to do is take away the 1 from both sides. So if I do that, I will get 2x left here, because 2x add 1, take away 1, they're going to cancel each other out. Keep the greater than sign, and 9 take away 1 is 8. And now it becomes like the one-step equations we were just doing. So this one, we've got 2x is greater than 8. So if I divide by 2 on both sides, 2x divided by 2 is x, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And again, if you wanted to check your answer, you could test it. So let's think of something greater than 4. Let's try, we can try 5. 2 times 5 is 10, add 1 is 11, and that is definitely greater than 9. Now the equations on the task continue like that. There are some though which also have brackets, so we'll do one which has brackets in it. So let's try 3 bracket x take away 2 is, let's do less than or equal to 18. Now, there's different ways you can do this one. You can either expand the brackets first, or you could divide first by what's outside of the bracket. So I'm going to expand the brackets first, just so that we get a bit of practice of that. So remember, if you're expanding the bracket, you need to multiply the 3 by both parts of the bracket. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6, but it's actually a negative 2, so it becomes negative 6. Is less than or equal to 18. Now we've got x is multiplied by 3 and then we subtract 6 to get something less than or equal to 18. So I need to remove the negative 6 now by adding 6 to both sides, because that will cancel that out. So we're left with 3x on this side, and 18 add 6 is 24. And now I've got 3x, but I only want 1, and because this means multiplied, divide by 3 both sides. I'll get x here is less than or equal to 8. And again, you could test it to see if it's true. So something smaller than 8, I don't know, maybe 5. So if we put 5 in the bracket there, 5 take away 2 is 3. 3 times 3 would be 9, which is less than 18. So that does work. So it is good to try and check your answers as you do this. So to do the worksheet now, what you have to do is, you see where it says start here in the pink? The questions are all on the second row. So the first one is 10x is greater than or equal to 40. So you'd need to, on some paper, solve that for x and find the answer. So I'll do this one with you. So I've got 10x is greater than or equal to 40. So for this one, because I want x and it's times by 10, I would divide by 10 on both sides, which gives me x is greater than or equal to 4. Now that I've found out what x could be, I want to find the answer. Now all the answers are on the yellow parts, so you've got lots of different options, but actually the first one is right here, so x is greater than or equal to 4. So what I would do now is I'd start writing my answer here, and as you can see above the answer there is what. So that is the first part of the joke, because if you do it correctly it will spell out a joke. So I'd write what there, and then you move on to the question in that grid. So the next question would be x divided by 5 is less than 6. Solve for x again on your paper, find out what the answer is, and then look for it on the next yellow block. So let's say, for example, it was this one. If you thought this was the answer, then the next word would be the, and then you'd solve this question. Okay, and then when you're done, you should end up with a joke and then the answer to the joke, which will fill the spaces below.